We all enjoy a rush of adrenaline. We all love to see great strength and competition being presented to us. A sight of an MMA fight can be an amazing and inspiring event. After watching it, we can feel on a high in our own lives, wanting to achieve more and become more. And that is a great thing. Yet everything has a cost. Everything has two sides to it. And so definitely does MMA. Hi, my name is Rogarth Leo, and today we're going to look at the brief history of MMA and one of its dark sides. Mixed martial arts is not a new thing. It actually dates back all the way to 648 BC when Greek pankratio, a martial art combining boxing and wrestling techniques, was introduced to Olympic Games. Yet the MMA we know today, in its history, is more rooted in Brazil, early 1900s, where vale tudo, or no holds barred, matches were born. Mitsuya Maeda, a Japanese judo champion who migrated to Brazil in 1917, met Carlos Gracie, a Brazilian man who started training with him and learning what was then still widely known as Kano Jiu-Jitsu, named after its founder. Carlos later shared the obtained knowledge with his brothers, thus starting what we now know as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or simply BJJ. The Gracie family, wanting to promote their martial art, started organizing their own Vale Tudo events where they challenged different combat arts to prove their effectiveness, and most of the times were actually successful. In early 1980s, Horion Gracie, the son of Helio Gracie, one of the founders of BJJ, moved to the States where he continued the tradition together with his brothers and held up the Gracie Challenge, where they took on all comers. Horion even offered $100,000 to anyone who could defeat him or his brothers in a Vale Tudo style match. In this way, the Gracies were becoming notorious in the American martial arts community, yet Horion still had a desire to bring the Vale Tudo matches to the main public to further promote the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. This eventually led to the creation of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, or UFC, a no-holds-barred event which was streamed in pay-per-view television. The event was won by Horace Gracie, a member of the Gracie family, who mainly used his family's jiu-jitsu. This led various fighters to include BJJ and also other styles of martial arts into their own training regime to get a better edge against others, and in this way creating a modern take on mixed martial arts or MMA. Although the event was planned to be a one-off, it received such huge success that a chain of further UFC events followed, creating a strong tradition of MMA fights in the whole world. Yet as every event, it had its dark sides too. UFC in its early days had a reputation of being extremely violent to such an extent that it even drew the attention of the US authorities, leading to 36 states enacting laws that banned no-holds-barred fighting. Following the criticism, UFC increased cooperation with the state athletic commissions and redesigned its rules to remove the less palatable elements of fights while retaining the core elements of striking and grappling. Following some other changes, in 2001, UFC gained its way back to the pay-per-view television and became the fastest-growing sport in America. Yet despite the changing of its rules, it still had a hidden shadow that is actually a huge danger to every MMA fighter up to this day. In the beginning of UFC's history, fights didn't involve as many punches. This actually wasn't so much a result of strategy as it was a result of lack of gloves. Although many could think that a punch to the head without gloves lead to more impact, in reality bare knuckles of the hand are quite fragile, and early MMA fighters often even broke their hands punching their opponents in the tough bones of the head. Back in the beginning of UFC, most winning strategies almost always involved grappling. Because of the lack of gloves, going for knockout punches was a dangerous strategy, making grappling the safer, more effective choice. Yet that was not as enjoyable for the crowd to watch, of which most part wasn't aware of the grappling subtleties happening on the ground. In wanting to increase the mass appeal of the sport, UFC added gloves, which led to heavy punches to the head becoming a more common strategy to win a fight with the knockout. Many other rules and scoring changes to favor strikers were added too to make the sport more thrilling to watch. While surely this strategy was very successful in a commerce sense, it also added a huge hidden cost to the fighters themselves. With receiving constant punches in the head, increasingly more studies started showing a huge and common danger of brain injury in MMA. The American Journal of Sports Medicine in 2014 found that a regular MMA fighter suffered a traumatic brain injury in almost a third of professional bouts, later stating that rates of KOs and TKOs in MMA are higher than previously reported rates in other combative and contact sports. While there are many dangers to brain damage itself, not everyone knows that it can be not only serious, but also permanent and largely irreversible. Various symptoms of brain damage include mood swings, loss of consciousness, amnesia, irritability, slowed reaction times, and sleep disturbances, leading to significant changes to a fighter's life. A famous MMA fighter, Gary Big Daddy Goodridge, who is only in his 40s, has to take multiple medications suited for Alzheimer's patients and suffers constant memory loss, which is often noticed by his close friends. It is also believed that brain damage can lead to depression, which more and more fighters are being diagnosed with. This does not only lead to a great decrease in the quality of fighters' personal life, but also leads to a growing danger of possible suicide. While the fatal effects of depression are still a theoretical danger, the brain injury itself can sometimes even lead to direct deadly results. Just recently, in April 9, 2016, Joel Carvalho suffered so many punches to the head during a single fight that 20 minutes after the technical knockout, he fell ill and 48 hours later died in a hospital of brain injury. The sustained damage was based strongly on the open rules of the fight, which allow a sequence known as ground and pound, where an opponent takes the other to the ground, obtaining a dominant grappling position, and then striking the opponent in a long sequence of punches only until the referee interferes. This fatal event opened up intense discussion about the danger of MMA, especially in relationships to brain damage, with some people even suggesting to bring back bare-knuckle fights to decrease the sustained damage. Yet so far, the future direction of the sport is still unclear.